these great revolutions will be hijacked by a new imperialist approach, and we see that very clearly done by the U.S. aligning itself with the people of Egypt, for example, with the people of Tunisia, and we see France align itself with the people of Libya. And what is being done here, it is hijacking the revolution, and the U.S., for example, empowered Egyptian military in order to control, because it was a breaking point. Either if the military of Egypt gone after the people of Egypt, it would not be. It would be a total chaotic situation. No one will have control. So even though we have great revolutions, and I'm kind of suspicious of what United States and European Union doing, because they're not going to be and will never let it be a true revolution.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's very, very real. The revolution. This is why I say we need revolution, thorough revolution that breaks out of the grip of imperialism. And imperialism, if only the left was too obsessed with imperialism. Imperialism is everything about the way the world works. It is the food that we eat. It's the cars we drive. It's the fuel that we have. You go to Century. You go to H&M. You know, Forever 21. You get clothes for $3. Because there are women and children in sweatshops. It's not just invasions, it's the whole order of the world. And frankly, the revolutions that have happened in the Middle East, in Egypt, there was a regime change. There has not yet been breaking the grip of imperial dominance, and the same military is facilitating and transitioning. And yes, there were, look, in the Iranian Revolution, the Islamic fundamentalists held back during the revolution. They didn't unveil their entire program. Just like in this country, the Christian fascists in government often don't reveal in public, or they speak in coded words. When Bush was in office, he spoke in coded words. He doesn't reveal his whole program, but once they got in power in Iran, the first thing they did is pass the hijab laws, and then they went after the genuine revolutionaries and the women, and they tortured people. And in Egypt, no, the Muslim Brotherhood has not come to power, but they also haven't revealed their whole hand. And meanwhile, you have the military still in place and imperial domination still in place. And yes, on International Women's Day, the women who came out and protested were beaten. Okay, that's a warning right there. There is a need for a thorough revolution, and it's very pressing and urgent. When people's hopes have been raised, when they have righteously stood out and struggled, when they've inspired people around the globe, and their struggle is righteous, it matters. We need clarity. We don't just need unity coming together. Sometimes different strata within a given country can come together around a common program. The frustrated ruling elite who have been held under the boot of imperial domination, the peasants who've been dislocated, the fundamentalists who have a different program, different sections of people, the unemployed engineers and lawyers who have maybe been in more privileged positions but have no place to go and end up driving cabs and selling cell phones. They can come together around their hatred for Mubarak. But there are different class interests and different programs within that. And we don't just need unity, we need clarity on what is the program and what is the force that can lead to a thoroughgoing revolution that can break the grip of imperialism and go about breaking all those outmoded social relations. That is the proletariat revolution. That's why I'm talking about communist revolution, because there are great stakes for where this all goes. We've seen revolutions, we've seen regime changes aborted before. We've seen changes from Marcos in the Philippines. We've seen changes of regimes many times, the Shah of Iran, with new oppressive orders put in place, and this is why it has great stakes. And I have to say again, if only I was at the left forum too. I heard all kinds of people going on and on about, you know, the struggle of the workers in Wisconsin, which frankly is important, but it is outrageous that there wasn't protests of the bombing of Libya. And not because I'm frustrated that we don't have an identity as a left, but because there's actual carnage in pursuit of imperial aims going on. This is what we actually have to open our eyes and deal with, and yes, wage resistance about, even as we're struggling for clarity and direction among us.
I am not one of the panelists. I just invited them here. And But I will say, just to give a little hint, I think part of what we should be doing is exactly this. I think we should be struggling for what's true, what are we dealing with, and then most importantly, how is it that we're answering the vast majority of people out there who are, for the most part, hoodwinked, you know, boondoggled by Fox News and so forth, and caught up in the grip of fundamentalism. Someone raised going to the Tea Party movement. I think that was Greg. And other people have raised the need for a movement and the need for democracy. That might be something we'd want to pursue. But I will say that this engagement was pulled together not on the basis of locking ourselves into a certain dynamic, but with the hope of breaking out of it and finding an alternative and really pursuing where that goes. I'd like to say, if people from the audience want to make a point or raise a question, the mic is live right here in the front, and we'll take 3 at a time. Go ahead.
Maybe because I teach political science and sociology, I see something differently. But I've noticed in every one of the events, always imperialism seems to be us. I don't understand. No one has ever condemned China for Tibet. I've never met anybody revolutionary say, hi, North Korea is a prison, and Kim Il-sung III is taking over, is not going to be much better. I never see anybody talk about China as one of the biggest supporters of Sudan. I never see anybody talk about how Venezuela, no matter how open it is, they were a big supporter of Gaddafi. They were also a big supporter of Belarus, whose president said to hell with democracy. I've never seen anybody talk about, for example, how the Russians were big supporters of Ethiopia, big supporters of let's say, Mugabe. Now, my point is, we're living in a dangerous world, Hobbesian. Why is everything imperialism, U.S. imperialism? What about the rest of the guys? Don't they get any play? And the third thing is, at what time, at what point does revolutionary movements become openly democratic? Because again, I have a friend of mine who went to North Korea, and he actually asked a North Korean, what is your view of the North Korean government? And there was the minder, and the minder said, you can't ask a question like that, it's anti-revolutionary.
Well, you've got 3 questions, so...
No, so I went over how to do it.
We heard you, very concise. Sir?
What's your name for tall people?